Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the recent developments that has been going on in the Bangladesh, especially in the context of the attacks that has been carried out either against the Indian establishments or against the minority Hindu community. In this regard, we have the visit of the Foreign Secretary of India to the Bangladesh. So what were the major issues of discussions between him and his counterpart, and what we can understand is going to be the way ahead as far as the India-Bangladesh relations are concerned. So let us try to understand this topic in more detail. Now, first of all, we also have to understand the relevance of this topic comes from the comes from the fact that in the General Studies 2 paper of UPSC, you have a topic or a subject called as international relations, especially the relations of India with the neighboring countries is where most of questions are being asked. So any development that is happening in the India-Bangladesh relationship becomes vital for your examination. Now, why this particular topic was news? So as I told you, recently the Foreign Secretary of India, Mr. Vikram Misri, has visited Dhaka, where he met his counterpart, that is the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, who is Jasimuddin, as we can see from the photograph here. Now, in this context, basically, the government of India or Ministry of External Affairs, we can say, wanted to send a message to its Bangladeshi counterparts that there is a willingness on the part of New Delhi to engage with the new government that has come and that has taken the reign in Bangladesh after departure of the Sheikh Hasina, who fled to India somewhere in the month of August of this year itself. New Delhi also, on the other hand, however, expect that the Bangladeshi government, new government in Dhaka, they will be more responsive. They will take more stricter measure to ensure that such elements in the Bangladeshi society, which are trying to harm the harm the Hindu community, who are trying to harm the Indian establishments there, such as Indian Cultural Center that was attacked in Dhaka a few days back. So that is something that Dhaka will take control of. And also the bilateral development partnership that both India and Bangladesh has cultivated so deeply, especially after India has helped Bangladesh in getting its independence somewhere in the 1971. That is something which should not be compromised. And at the same time, Bangladesh should ensure that the enemies of India who are trying to threaten especially the internal security situation in India, they are someone who are also being controlled. They are not able to impinge on the security of India. So that is what is the main message being delivered by the Foreign Secretary. Now, before going into more details, we can also try to look the Bangladesh geography, as we know that it is one of the most important neighbor of India, and India shares its longest land border. If it shares with any country, that is the Bangladesh. More than 4,000 kilometers of land border India has with Bangladesh. As we can see that as far as the Bangladesh is concerned, this is surrounded by India from three sides, except the south where it is surrounded by, or southeast we can say, where it is surrounded by Myanmar. So many states of India such as West Bengal, you have Assam, you have Meghalaya, Tripura and all that makes up the border of Bangladesh. Now the question that comes is, what is the recent issue that has again intensified the anti-India protest or anti-India attacks in the Bangladesh? So two issues first of all we can highlight here. First is there was a sense of fear that has gripped the minority community, especially the Hindus in Myanmar, in Hindus in Bangladesh, when the Bangladeshi government arrested a Hindu monk who were charged for the sedition, and this catapulted into an attack that was carried out by the Indians in the Tripura. And also at the same time, because of this development, there was a march against Indian missions as well as the Indian Cultural Center situated in Dhaka, and this has created anger in both capitals of Bangladesh, that is Dhaka, as well as the capital of India, that is Delhi. Now, this is something that is not what we can call as the main reason behind the recent what we can say downturn that we have seen in the Indo-Bangladesh relationship. The downturn began somewhere in the month of August itself, when as a result of the protests, especially led by the students of Bangladesh, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who ruled Bangladesh for almost, as we can see, 16 years, she has to abandon her power and she has to flee to India. As a result of this, whoever was associated with Sheikh Hasina regime, whether it is politicians, whether it is bureaucrats, whether it is what you can call as the civil society members, they were attacked, their homes were attacked, their homes were looted, and even the offices of the government representatives were vandalized. However, if talk about the ire of the mobs or the anger of mobs, basically extended to everyone who was seen as aligned with Hasina and her Awami League, and these include bureaucrats, political activists, intellectuals, journalists, and the civil society leaders, as we have talked about. So, in the initial phase of attack, the communal angle was not so much predominant. Largely, it was government versus anti-government, or government versus opposition kind of protest that we have seen. So the question comes that why the attack on Hindus began, or what we can say is the main reason behind such kind of attacks. The first point that we can highlight here is the political affiliation. Now, the Hindus who constitute minority in the Bangladesh, for a long period of time, they had enjoyed patronage and protection under the secular policies of the Sheikh Hasina government. And that is why obviously they were mostly aligned and affiliated with the Sheikh Hasina's government and her parties. So obviously, the Hindu population of Bangladesh were considered as someone who is supporting the government, who against whom the large wave of the anti-incumbency was prevalent and the protests were going on. Second, if we talk about that this element, apart from this element, religious hardliners also were someone who were the part of the major opposition, including Islamist extremists as well. And the entry of these people in the protest and after the fleeing of Sheikh Hasina, when the police became powerless, police basically became invisible in nature. They have not taken any action to curb the violence against the minorities, and that has basically motivated all these radicals and hardliners to carry forward with their propaganda, carry forward with their attacks. So these are the main reasons why we can say the attack began. To understand the extent of communal violence, one of the major organizations that we have in Bangladesh, that is Bangladesh Minority Council, made up of Hindus, Buddhists, and Christian. So Bangladesh Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Minority Council has said that a total of 2,000 communal incidents were recorded in the Bangladesh. That happened just in 16 days after the toppling of the government between the August 4 to August 20. And as a result of this communal clashes, communal incidents, almost 9 people were killed, 4 women were raped, and 69 places of worship of the minorities were attacked. More than 900 homes and an almost equal number of business establishments were attacked and vandalized. 21 properties of minorities were occupied. That is what another report published by one of the major newspapers of Bangladesh also validates this point. So the reason behind anti-India sentiment, we try to understand, is obviously because since most of the Hindus were affiliated with the Hasina's government, as well as in past 16 years, India has enabled and has developed very strong relations with the Sheikh Hasina government. The mob has considered or viewed India as Hasina's benefactor, ally, supporter, and enabler. And this has resulted into the venting of their anger or direction of their anger toward the Indian establishment. And the example of this we can see is the recent attack where the Indira Gandhi Cultural Center, a center that largely is involved in what we can say is the cultural exchange program, or building together, bringing together two different cultures such as from Bangladesh and India. So that was looted and set on fire, and most interestingly, neither the police nor the army has intervened here. Indian diplomats, their lives were also put at the risk. Many Indian diplomats who were living with their families outside of the embassy premises, their security was not guaranteed. So for many days, they had to remain in the embassy premises. They had to take shelter there, and finally they had to be evacuated in the special aircraft. And the reason behind this, if you understand, that this is a very important development, because the Bangladeshi government clearly stated, even the army clearly stated, that we can provide security to the establishment, the embassies and consulates, and but however, if suppose a mob charges against the Indian establishment, Indian embassies, the Bangladeshi government or police will not attack or will not fire against the mob. So basically they said that we cannot guarantee protection, that is why evacuation has to be done. Also, locally, if we talk about, the Bangladeshi army chief has said that more than 600 people had been sheltered in the cantonments. That people who are fearful that once the Sheikh Hasina is gone, they will also be targeted and attacked. Now, if you talk about the recent meetings that has happened between the Foreign Secretary of India and the Bangladeshi leadership, if you look at the leadership response, so obviously in the early days of the what you can call as the violence that we had seen, their transitional leader of the country, who is the Nobel Prize winner, Nobel laureate he visited the Hindu community and also visited the Dhaka's famous Dhakeshwari Durga temple to send a message of solidarity with the minorities. He also tried to assuage the masses that such kind of incidents against the minority community, specifically which is directed against them, cannot be tolerated, will not be tolerated. Second, if we talk about the opposition party, who is largely led by the Khalida Jia and the Jamaat Islami that we have there, they also sought to assuage the concerns and fears of Hindus. But again, the last 2 weeks is when we see, as I told you, that one of the saint, what you can call as the monk, he was arrested, and also the protest that is being led by the Hindus. So this has reignited tensions in the Bangladesh. And one major difference that we are seeing here, in the initial phase when the attack against minority was being conducted, the Bangladeshi media was properly covering it and was talking against it. However, in this time, Bangladeshi media has been less supportive of the minority community. Not only that, the Bangladeshi media also alleges that the Indian media portrays the news and the affairs of Bangladesh with a clear-cut bias, and they many times are also involved in circulation of fake photograph, fake videos, rumor mongering, and portray the situation more bad, worse than what exactly it is and how exactly it is in Bangladesh. So they are not adhering to the truth. That is what the Bangladeshi media alleges. Now, if talk about the leadership response as given by or after the meeting with the Foreign Secretary of India, they have said, if talk about the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, he clearly has stated that our ties with India is very solid and very close, and he has asked India to help clear the clouds, all these the issues, the concerns, and the fear that the people have in the leadership against the India's intentions, that has to be cleared. And especially here, the Muhammad Yusuf has stated that even while she is in India, Ms. Hasina is giving a lot of statement where she is trying to say that there is a threat to the life of a minority community in Bangladesh after her government collapsed. So the Muhammad Yunus has said actually that it was creating tensions in Bangladesh, and this is something that they want India to address urgently, so that again the ties between India and Bangladesh can become more better. From Dhaka's perspective, the major point that they have raised is India continues to back Hasina. Obviously, because India is the one who has given the what you can call as the refuge or shelter to Sheikh Hasina, asylum to Sheikh Hasina after she flee. While New Delhi, on the other hand, has sought to argue that India's ties are in fact with the people of Bangladesh. This is a clear message that has been given to the Foreign Secretary, that India's business or India's what I can say diplomatic relationship does not only extend or stretches to a single individual, single personality, rather it stretches to the people of Bangladesh. And what does it basically mean? It means the whoever is representing the people of Bangladesh, that means clearly directing toward the new government. So with that, India will try to maintain and strengthen its relationship. So in conclusion, what we can say that the Foreign Secretary's visit was a very important milestone that has to be done, so that again the relation between India and Bangladesh can be normalized. And this is something which also is important from the security point of view, because in the earlier period also, when the Bangladesh was unstable or when the government was anti-India, or no, we can say not anti-India, but at least not so friendly, India friendly, that time many terrorist elements, many of the insurgent groups operating in northeast such as Ulfa, if we talk about, they were the one who got the refuge in Bangladesh, and from where they were continuously attacking the Indian territory. So this is something that India would not want to see repeated again. So the violent changes obviously has happened in Bangladesh. It has obviously on the negative side seen an ouster of India friendly leader, that was Sheikh Hasina, and it is no doubt a blow that India and Bangladesh relationship has suffered. However, in the context or in the matters of international relations, bilateral relations, we have to be pragmatic, we have to be practical, and thus it does make sense for India to engage with new realities that have shaped up in Bangladesh after the ouster of the previous government. And taking that into account, India should have a close consultative partnership with the new interim government in the enduring interest of both the countries. So that is something that is a best suggestion which can be offered to both the countries. Now, in this context, as we have discussed, the topic is relevant for your GS2 paper of international relations. So, one mains based question that you can try to write is, in the context of recent developments in the Bangladesh, analyze the security related challenges India can face along its border. So it is a mixture of both IR plus internal security challenges that you also have to study in GS paper 3. So questions can easily be asked in both GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. So that is all for this particular video. I hope you got a gist of what has happened in past few months that has caused concern in the diplomatic establishments of both India and Bangladesh as far as their bilateral relationship is concerned, and what should be our way forward or way moving ahead. That is all for this video. Thank you very much.